Good morning,
Hello.
everyone. Good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're at. One
Yep.
of the things that we need to mention is that these are also available on Spotify. So we need to add here that you can download these later as a podcast on Spotify, which we haven't done, but we
Oh
need to
yeah.
start letting people know more about that so you can download it and listen to it
hmm
later. But our topic is about applying for jobs online. And Ray, this was your idea
Yeah.
because you saw
Yeah.
something in the news about
Yeah.
this.
Yeah. I did. A really a friend of mine in Denver, who's a really good recruiting leader. Made put posted a note basically saying, look, um, for all those people that are out there on LinkedIn and on the different job boards, that the chance of getting a final interview if you apply for a job online is about 2 to 3%. So out of 100 applications that you apply for, you may be able to go through the process and actually, interview for the job, two out of 100. So, um, we had a good discussion yesterday about that. That we're thinking that you have better odds of
Well, actually,
winning the
we
lottery.
did we
Go
did
ahead.
we did
Yeah.
more than thinking.
Yeah.
We actually
Yeah.
put pen to paper and
You did.
calculator
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
and computer and AI to work. And what we did is we figured out that you have I even hate to say this because it's not a fun statistic. You have a better chance of winning a scratcher in the lottery than you
Mm-hmm.
do of
Yeah.
getting a job callback or getting a job
Yeah.
online
Yep.
right now.
Exactly. Exactly. And
Your
a
odds are
lot of
better
it.
with the
Yeah.
scratcher. Yeah.
It is.
Mm.
Your odds are better with a scratcher, of getting something back on your money, on your investment. And so we were talking about that, and about the challenges of recruiters out there right now. When you look at a job that's open for an hour, and you've got 150 people that have applied to it, and you leave it for a week, and you got thousands of people applying for it, and so it's just not a good way. You know, one from a recruiter perspective, how do you go through all those resumes to find the good people? That's a challenge, and then from a
Mm-hmm.
person looking for a job, this is just not a good way to spend your time. If you're spending your time, you know, rage applying to every job out there, it's just not going to work. And it goes back to, the being a better networker and being referred in. I think
Mm-hmm.
what my buddy said on the LinkedIn post, that um, you know the chance of you getting reviewed and interviewed, if you're referred into the organization, is a 10x. The 2 or 3%. So
Well.
so it just goes to, you got to really be very strategic and planful if you are out there looking for an opportunity.
Yeah, we've talked about this
Mm-hmm.
before. I think that this is not necessarily new or that is going to shake anybody's world that we say this again is that your network is still your strongest way of finding a job
hmm
is tapping into your network and somebody that knows you and somebody that has affinity for you stands up and recommends you for a job. And we work with a number of clients right now, and their highest desire is to have people that refer people into the organization. And that's what they
hmm
say all the time. We want referrals. It's great that we can do really good recruiting or staffing or TA, but we want those employee referrals, which is really important, which is why managing your network is so important, as we've talked about
Mm-hmm. I was about to
before.
say that. It's on
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
flip side. As a recruiter, you've got to do the same thing. You've got to network. You've got to reach out to who you know. Sitting there going through 1,000 resumes. I mean, oh.
Yeah. I mean, if a recruiter spends, uh, 30 seconds on reviewing a resume, that's probably too much. So it's just, the recruiters are having a really, really tough job. Um, The other thing too, when employees are honest about whether they have certain skills, whenever somebody posts on there, hey, do you have at least 5 years of experience, and you have 4.5, and you say no, guess what? 30 seconds after you hit no, you're going to be getting a thank you, but we're not going to talk to you email.
Mhm.
So, those are knockout questions. So if you're gonna knock yourself out, then don't even bother applying. So, those are the things you have to think about when candidates are out there looking for opportunities. That it's just not, LinkedIn is tough. And, the other thing
We love LinkedIn.
we do love LinkedIn, but,
Yeah, LinkedIn,
organ
Indeed, all of them. Yeah.
organizations utilize LinkedIn a lot of times, like you said, like we say here, for fake job postings. You know, I'm not sure what company
Well,
we've
hold on.
been with.
Let's
Go
speak.
ahead.
Let's yeah
Go
yeah.
ahead.
Let's be
Yeah.
careful there. So
Yeah.
we're not picking on anybody, and I don't want to say
Mhm.
that that's happening on any particular platform
Yeah.
because I don't know what platforms it's happening on.
Mhm.
But there are jobs that are being posted by companies that are not real jobs, which adds to this frustration because
Mhm.
companies want to show
Mhm.
that they're growing. They want to show to their customer base that they're growing. They want to give an impression of the employees that they're growing, but those jobs don't exist. And so there are jobs out there, and I think people know that they go to apply for them, and they never hear back because they're not a real job. And so
Mhm.
I don't know, what platforms people are doing that on, or if they're doing it on their website, but that is happening, and that does add to the problems that we're dealing with right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, the waste of
Yeah.
time applying.
Mhm. Yep. Exactly. Exactly. And
That's why it's
I think
important to do your
yeah.
homework.
Yeah, so it's a tough environment right now for companies and recruiters because they're just getting inundated with candidates, and trying to find the right ones is tough. But it's also a very tough job market for people looking for a position because um, you know organizations are becoming that they don't have many jobs that are open. They're not they're being much more picky about who they talk to and what they're looking for, and the process is taking longer. It's not the crazy market that we had during COVID, where you know people could get 20, 30, 40% bumps in pay, and get interviewed and offered a position within 24 hours. That's just
Well,
not happening. It's a tough market.
if you look at the Wall Street Journal today, the Wall Street
Mhm.
Journal headline for their major story today was that the decade of the hottest job market ever is over. And what we're seeing is really a more traditional market where employers have the leverage and employees don't have as much leverage. Now, obviously, if you have some really unique skill sets or hard to find skill sets,
Mhm.
and there are certain jobs that are in demand, you're going to have leverage. But for the most part, that is not happening right now. And one of the things that's really a struggle for folks is that white collar hiring has slowed down considerably. So
Mhm.
the number of 100K white collar jobs that are out there are significantly less than at any time in the last 10 years.
Yeah. Yeah, and what's really surging is the opposite of that, which is more the hourly blue collar roles. Those are there's a ton of those opportunities out there for folks. And I think there's been a lot of analysis on that where those hourly types of roles, which are critical to the economy. There's a ton of those out there right now, and folks with those kinds of skills can kind of pick where they want to go. Whereas, the white collar roles are just being, it's just a real tough, challenge right now to find opportunities there.
Heather,
Uh,
remember the conversation we had with the individual that left a role like that? Do you remember that conversation
y-
where they were looking for a job in more of a tech position? Do you remember this
mhm.
conversation? It just happened about 30 days ago.
Yep, yep.
Heather, do you remember what you had for lunch? of yesterday. Heather, are you listening? So Heather and I had a conversation with an employee who left one of our companies that we're working with, and he told us he was leaving, and we said, out of curiosity, how long did it take you to get a new job? And he said, well, from start to end, it was about 3 weeks. And we're like, wow, that's really quick. And he said, well, actually, it was even faster than that. I put my resume up on whatever site it was, and I'm not going to say the site's name. And he said, I had 6 offers, or 6 basically, hey, if you come in, we'll go to final offer within the next 24 hours. He had 6 of those. And so the only reason he said why it took 3 weeks is it took that long just for the onboarding and the background checks and getting all the things tight with the paperwork. But he had essentially, within 24 hours, he had 6 offers.
And he gave a 2 weeks notice, so that's part of it too.
Yeah, that was a
Yeah,
notice. Yeah,
timing.
period.
Yeah.
So it was literally, it was like within 24
Yeah.
hours, he had
Yeah.
6 jobs. So that
Mhm.
is, there's still jobs like that, and they're different. It's just not the same
Yeah.
market. Yeah, it's still hot.
And it's about
Yeah.
positioning yourself right. And, on the white collar end, the one thing that's great about LinkedIn is that is where a lot of recruiters are going. But if you don't have your LinkedIn profile built out with the right keywords for the type of role you're looking for, recruiters are less likely to find you. So that's another something to keep in mind. And I know there's a big debate: do you put the open to work or not put the open to work? I don't know what your feelings are on that, but having a very basic profile you will probably not get a phone call from someone that's looking for passive candidates.
Yeah, so true. Yeah, I mean that LinkedIn profile is so critical, and like you said, Heather, having having it well built out versus just listing company and dates. I've seen a lot of those out there in role. That's just not going to work in today's market, unless you're perfectly happy staying where you are for the next 15 years.
Yeah.
But and that's okay. But no, definitely, that's one of the things that you need to do. Not only the networking, but also doing your, like we say here, doing your homework. If somebody calls you, be prepared, research the company. Yeah, don't go in cold, because generally going in cold means a bad interview and a you're not gonna go to the next round. And and make sure that you're prepared if you're out in the market.
So it's tough, and you need help on both sides. I think companies need assistance with how they make their process run more efficiently, and that's definitely something that, as a company, you want to make sure that people are getting a good feel for you, and you have a good reputation out in the industry, that you're at least somehow acknowledging candidates that they're not going to move forward in your process. I mean, I guess even if they get through and they don't do well on a knockout question and they get told no, at least that's better than thinking I've put something in there and I don't know what's going to happen. So companies need to do a good job. And then people who are applying, they need to do a polished job of making sure that their resume looks good, that there's no misspellings, that they're applying for a job that they should actually be applying for, and it's not something that's 2 or 3 levels above what they could be doing. And then managing your network and tapping into all of those things. And managing your network is actually means going out and having lunch with somebody, going out to an event after work, showing your face. Not everything is virtual, and that, I think, is somewhat of a challenge for people. I had 4 15-year-old girls staying with my wife and I this last weekend, and everything's the phone, like literally everything's the phone.
Yeah.
And to try to pry them off of the phone to say, hey, let's go paddleboarding, let's go take the boat out and go ride on the inflatables, or you name the list of things that we made them go do. But they're not inclined to say, hey, let's go do that, because they'd rather be on Snapchat, Instagram, or whatever. And they'd all rather just sit on a bed in silence doing those things.
Yeah.
And so our skills, and this is not meant to be pejorative, but our skills interacting with people in a person to person live situation are deteriorating. And so you need to force yourself to improve those skills, and to make sure that you can do that. And so that's something that's really important in this process, so that you don't walk into an interview and look like a deer in the headlights saying, oh my God, I'm actually interacting with human beings. And so
Yeah.
that's a very important criteria that people need to work.
Yeah, and I think there's a trend of more and more networking events. I'm on the board of an organization in a comp organization in Denver, and we're moving towards probably a 75% in-person event program versus before it was it was more skewed towards virtual. People like getting together, people like meeting, having a glass of wine afterwards, whatever. So take advantage of that and get out there, because you just never know who you're going to meet. Could be your next opportunity.
Get off your phone.
Exactly. Get off your phone. Very important. But yeah, let us know if you need any help in the areas of networking, in the areas of of job search. Love to help folks. We're always working with our network and helping people find new opportunities.
All right. Well, if they want to get a hold of you, how do they do that, team?
For myself, Ray, REY, at Thrive HR Consulting, or give me a call on my cell.
And Heather, how do they get a hold of you?
I am at, hey, look at that. Check out our recording on Spotify. I just threw that in there real quick.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, go to
nice.
Spotify. Check us out. She threw that in there. I like it. We are on Spotify. You can download these. You can listen to them and play them for your kids. The next time your kid doesn't want to get off the phone and you say, hey, how are you ever going to get a job if you can't talk to people? You can download this podcast. You can play it for them and say, see, experts in the field said you need to get off the phone. It's not just me, little Johnny or Susie. So
right. Other people are saying it too.
Yeah, other people are saying it too. It's not just because I'm a mean parent. That's what I've never, ever heard my child say that.
Yeah.
And then, exactly. And then the number to reach us, which you can reach Ray through that number, is 888. You can reach me. You can reach Heather, is 888-393-3453. Thank you so much, everyone.
All right.
All right. We'll talk later.
Great day.
See you next week.
Bye.
Bye-bye.